now that I have my basic pose down, I have a very solid base for me to start sculpting. So here you see me just doing some small edits first before I do that. I need this. It's a little bit easier for me to create this seam in the middle of the shirt with normal poly modeling. So I'm just making sure to do that first. You can also do polygon operations after you've been sculpting, but that's a little bit more risky. I would recommend you to do this sort of stuff before you start sculpting, because it can kind of screw up your sculpting a little bit if you have to do it later. I am actually going to do a little bit of that later on when I create the cuffs, because I forgot to do that, but it actually works out pretty well, and that's one of the benefits of doing your actual sculpting in your modeling software. So here you see me, I'm trying to just make sort of like a tucked in type of shirt where you have one part that is just going over the belt. And you also see me creating the belt based off the geometry of the pants, and just adding a simple solidify modifier on top of it and just pushing it out. And what you see here is actually I have it at this point. I didn't have all the Nerf guns that I wanted to make, so I'm just creating a simple geometry with the basic proportions of that Nerf gun. So just so that I am deforming that belt, and also because that will affect the shirt. So it's just nice to have that shape in there. So because it will inform my my sculpting. And here you see I'm using very basic tools just to block in the basic pattern of the wrinkles. And these wrinkles, by the way, are all based off of the reference pictures that I took. I took some pictures of my model, my colleague, but I also took some pictures of myself just wearing normal jeans, and then had and that was a great starting point for me to create these wrinkles, because creating wrinkles is surprisingly tricky. Creating believable nice wrinkles is a time consuming thing. Of course, you can invent your own wrinkles, but I would very much recommend taking these references. And here you can see here's my main pants reference, and you see I'm literally trying to use these references and copy the wrinkles that I see. Just moving on to the shirt, it's the same exact process. It's the shirt is way more difficult than the pants, because it's a softer fabric, so it has these smaller and more delicate creases, and it really took me quite a while to get a somewhat decent representation of that of the creases in the shirt, but you see the process is basically the same. I'm trying to just use what I see in the pictures and use that as a basis for all the wrinkles in the shirt. And you also see that it's important for the belt and the shirt to kind of work together. it needs to look as if the shirt is pushing the belt is pushing the shirt in, and that it's not just floating on top of the body. And the tools I'm using here is very, very simple brushes. It's just a normal standard sculpt brush, Hotkey X, and I'm doing a lot of smoothing just to make sure that things are not too blobby. So I'm sculpting a little bit and then smoothing quite often. I'm also using later on the standard clay brush because it has a kind of a nice smoothing out quality to it. And here you see I'm doing that cuff as I was talking about, because I realized that it's much easier for me to model that stuff in than to sculpt it. So you see that creates a little bit of artifacts, but I'm solving that by just moving the edges a little bit further apart, and that kind of alleviates that artifact a little bit. So yeah. That is the main process of sculpting in the high poly version of this model. There's a lot of tweaking, just making sure that things kind of fit together and that you don't have intersections. But yeah, this is just it's a nice and fun thing. It's not really that technical.